Hypertext and interactive fiction are two forms of digital storytelling. Hypertext fiction consists of two elements, content items, and their connections to the reader. This includes multiple readable chunks that are positioned on a computer screen. Within them has documents such as images, text, charts, tables, and video clips. Another way of explaining is thinking of hypertext as regular text. However, hypertext contains connection within the text to other documents. A good example of this includes George Landlow's hypertext book. So in Landlow's book, he explains that it helps enable people to develop knowledge in a non-linear and non-sequential way, meaning that hypertext can never be linear, but it can be multidimensional. Next is interactive fiction. So as hypertext advanced, digital gaming went through a huge change around the same time in the form of interactive fiction. This was created from the matrix of multi-user dimensions and object-oriented computing. Users interacted with virtual environments grammatically by entering commands through the keyboard such as go north or take the apple to control the characters and influence the environment. A good example of this is The Dream Hold by Andrew Plotkin. So this game is an interactive fiction game, like a classic text adventure, no graphics or point and click. You just type your commands and read what happens next.
During the 1980s, urban legends and demonic folklore arose as a new form of digital storytelling, spread predominantly through email. Some of these urban legends range from silly puzzles and jokes to more serious Nigerian financial scams and horror stories about politicians, just to name a few. We still get these scams from phone calls, social media, and through emails to this day. These became viral due to the little work required from the receiver, beyond sharing it with friends and family. This usually was out of fear due to a lot of more serious folklores ending with a threat of some kind, and people wanting to avoid getting hit with that threat. Urban legends occurred before the World Wide Web was even unleashed in 1991. These systems make up a first generation of pre-web digital storytelling. Once the World Wide Web was released, the rapid popularity of it sparked the beginnings of a booming arena for storytelling. Early websites told story through a single image with text underneath it with links to further pages. That became an early form of digital storytelling and often led the users to different images through various links to illustrate a point. Urban legends and demonic folklore caught on with that, using pictures and texts to illustrate a point and to further those scams and horror stories to scare people and continue that early form of digital storytelling.
When the 90s finally rolled around, another form of digital storytelling appeared. It differed from the previous approaches in that this time, it was a completely offline form and was also the first to seize the name of digital storytelling. A so-called curriculum of digital storytelling was initially developed to provide the tools and skills necessary for anyone to present a short story in video form. This creative spirit is what spawned various workshops and studios across the United States dedicating and teaching digital storytelling. And then there was the content of the stories themselves. A particular emphasis on personal content existed. For instance, participants at the Center of Digital Storytelling wrote scripts about their lives or people's lives around them. On the flip side, the technicalities of this, technology was being de-emphasized. Considering that video was considered the realm of professionals and only the most hardcore geeks of the 90s, making video accessible presents it as a tool akin to, say, a notebook or a canvas. And this was important in realizing its creative potential for aspiring storytellers. Due to the ways in which technology is mediated through this so-called CDS approach, even young children can create their own digital stories in class. Videos such as The Truth Hurts and English of My Life by Lily were all created by K-8 students from CDS's Street Side Stories workshop. Adapting the same format to colleges and universities also yielded success, as currently multiple universities still offer degrees in digital storytelling. At the same time, limitations of this approach also became apparent. Quote, "Some saw the personal, biographical essence of the CDS curriculum as inapplicable to many classrooms." Regardless, as the digital landscape began to shift once again, so did the practices of digital storytelling. The advent of Web 2.0 later introduced a whole slew of digital tools which became broader by nature, and eventually ushered in a new generation of combining storytelling with technology.